Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. What if everything we were told about the situation was only half the story? What if behind the scenes, a new military balance is quietly being shaped? Everyone has been waiting and asking the same question. When will Russia step in to support Iran? When will real assistance arrive? Now, international reports are suggesting that certain leaked documents indicate a serious development. According to these claims, a secret arrangement has reportedly been finalized involving the supply of advanced air defense systems to Iran. It is being said that around 500 launch units and nearly 2,500 missiles could be part of this agreement. These systems are described as portable, shoulder-launched air defense missiles designed to target drones, helicopters, jets, and even cruise missiles within a range of approximately 6 kilometers. If such systems are delivered and deployed, the entire strategic calculation in the region could change. Any future air operation by the United States or Israel would face a more complicated environment. Low-flying aircraft, transport helicopters, and surveillance drones would operate under higher risk. Military planners would need to reconsider altitude, approach routes, and response time. In modern conflicts, even small portable systems can create major deterrence if used effectively. Recently, similar technologies have shown their effectiveness in other battle zones, proving that mobility and flexibility can shift outcomes on the battlefield. At the same time, another unusual situation has captured global attention. Reports suggest that an Iranian drone has been flying over the Persian Gulf for an extended period. It is claimed to be traveling at very high speed, possibly around 900 kilometers per hour, and at an altitude near 31,000 feet. Observers say it has not been intercepted. The exact type of drone has not been officially confirmed. This uncertainty has created questions. Is it conducting surveillance? Is it testing air defense reactions? Or is it sending a message? In previous incidents, drones approaching sensitive assets were quickly neutralized, but in this case, the hesitation has sparked debate. Military analysts often explain that modern drones can have stealth features, electronic countermeasures, or unexpected flight profiles that make tracking and interception more complex. Smaller drones sometimes avoid radar detection due to their size and material composition. Larger, high-altitude drones can operate at speeds and heights that require precise timing to engage. The mystery surrounding this reported drone activity has fueled discussions in global media circles. Financial markets have also reacted cautiously to rising tensions. Whenever geopolitical risk increases, investors become nervous. Stock markets tend to fluctuate. Energy prices often show volatility. Traders factor in the possibility of escalation. Fear spreads faster than facts. Even rumors of confrontation can create pressure on international markets. In times like these, uncertainty becomes the most powerful force. There are also reports of internal developments inside Iran. A fresh wave of protests has been mentioned by several outlets. Student groups and segments of the public are said to be expressing dissatisfaction. However, official confirmation remains limited. Governments sometimes avoid immediate statements during sensitive periods. Outside commentary has speculated about divisions within political circles. Former leaders and diplomats have been mentioned in various discussions. Some analysts suggest that power dynamics inside the country are evolving. Others argue that external pressure often strengthens internal unity rather than weakening it. It is important to understand that in geopolitical conflicts, narratives become part of the strategy. Each side attempts to shape perception. International media may present information from different angles. Some reports claim that global powers like Russia and China are not offering enough visible support. Others argue that assistance is happening quietly behind closed doors. Strategic partnerships do not always appear in headlines. Military cooperation can be technical,
financial, or intelligence-based, and not always public. At the same time, there have been statements from Iranian officials emphasizing resilience. They insist that surrender is not part of their national mindset. According to them, pressure only reinforces determination. On the other side, American representatives have expressed confusion about why increased military presence has not produced political concessions. This reflects the classic tension between force and resolve. History shows that when nations feel existential threat, they often choose resistance over compromise. Another important factor is regional alignment. Neighboring countries are carefully watching the situation. Some maintain quiet diplomatic channels with multiple sides. Others openly express positions. In such a fragile environment, even a small incident can escalate quickly. Military bases, shipping routes, and energy infrastructure all become strategic assets. The Persian Gulf remains one of the most sensitive waterways in the world. Any disruption there would affect global oil supply and trade. Technology also plays a decisive role. Portable missile systems, advanced drones, electronic warfare tools, and cyber capabilities are shaping modern conflicts. Traditional large-scale invasions are less common. Instead, we see limited strikes, proxy engagements, and psychological operations. The objective is often to gain leverage without triggering full-scale war, but miscalculation is always possible. A single error in judgment can spiral into a wider confrontation. There is also discussion about economic pressure. Sanctions have long been used as a tool to influence state behavior. However, sanctions can also push countries to develop alternative networks and alliances. Some analysts argue that prolonged restrictions encourage domestic innovation in defense industries. Others believe they create internal strain that leads to political change. The outcome depends on many variables, including leadership, public support, and external backing. From a strategic perspective, if advanced air defense systems are indeed delivered, they would primarily serve to protect military facilities and critical infrastructure. Air superiority becomes harder to achieve when ground forces are equipped with mobile launchers. Helicopter insertions, low-altitude bombing runs, and close air support require careful planning. Even the perception of enhanced defense capability can act as a deterrent. Meanwhile, the alleged high-altitude drone activity symbolizes modern warfare's psychological dimension. Sometimes the goal is not to attack, but to demonstrate reach. Showing that airspace can be entered or monitored without interception sends a signal. It tests reaction times, it studies radar coverage, it gathers data, and sometimes it simply reminds opponents that capability exists. Inside Iran, the reported protests add another layer. Internal stability is always a factor during external crises. Governments must balance defense readiness with domestic governance. Public sentiment can influence strategic decisions. However, information during tense periods often includes exaggerations. It is essential to separate confirmed facts from speculation. Looking at the broader picture, this situation is not only about one country. It is part of a larger global rivalry. Major powers are competing for influence. Energy routes, trade corridors, and military positioning all intersect in this region. Every move is calculated. Every statement carries weight. Even silence can be strategic. Some experts warn that a large-scale confrontation would have massive consequences for the global economy. The United States economy is deeply connected to global markets. Any disruption in energy supply or investor confidence could cause ripple effects. Inflation, market crashes, and supply chain disruptions are real risks. Similarly, regional countries would face economic and humanitarian challenges. However, others argue that all sides understand these risks and therefore will avoid crossing certain red lines. Military posturing can sometimes be about negotiation leverage rather than actual war preparation. Diplomacy continues quietly even when public rhetoric sounds aggressive. Back-channel talks are common in international relations. As observers, we must approach these developments with caution. Dramatic headlines attract attention, but complex realities require balanced understanding. Claims of secret deals, mysterious drones, and internal unrest should be evaluated carefully. Official confirmations matter. Independent verification matters. Emotional reactions do not help in understanding geopolitics. One thing appears clear: the region is entering a sensitive phase. Strategic moves are being made, alliances are being tested, technology is redefining power equations. Whether this leads to escalation or de-escalation depends on decisions made in the coming weeks and months. For now, tensions remain high, markets remain alert, military forces remain vigilant, and the world watches closely. This is Kundi bringing you analysis on Pulse America News. Stay informed, stay aware, share your thoughts respectfully. The future direction of this situation will shape not only the Middle East, but potentially the global balance of power.
At this stage, many strategic observers believe that the next phase will depend on calculated patience rather than sudden action. Military buildups do not always mean immediate war. Sometimes they are designed to strengthen negotiation positions. When fleets move, when missile systems are discussed, and when drones appear in sensitive airspace, it can be part of a larger chess game. Each move is meant to send a message without crossing the final line. There is also the question of how global powers measure risk. No major country wants to be dragged into a direct and uncontrollable confrontation. Modern warfare is no longer limited to borders. Cyber attacks can target financial systems. Energy infrastructure can be disrupted. Communication satellites can be jammed. The battlefield today is both physical and digital. Because of this, every decision carries long-term consequences. If reports about enhanced air defense systems are accurate, then the immediate impact would be psychological as much as operational. Air forces depend on speed and surprise. When ground units can respond quickly with portable launchers, pilots must adjust tactics. Flying higher reduces accuracy, flying lower increases vulnerability. That dilemma alone can slow down operations. Even rumors of such deployments can force military planners to reconsider timelines. At the same time, the mystery drone situation reflects how rapidly unmanned technology is evolving. Drones today are not simple remote-controlled devices. Some operate with advanced navigation systems. Some can fly pre-programmed routes. Others can gather intelligence using high-resolution sensors. When one remains in contested airspace without being intercepted, it naturally raises questions. Is it being monitored but intentionally left alone? Is it testing radar blind spots? Or is it part of a coordinated demonstration of capability? Without verified information, speculation spreads quickly. Inside Iran, reported internal protests add complexity. In many nations, domestic political discussions continue even during external crises. Student movements, economic grievances, and political debates are part of any society. However, outside observers sometimes interpret internal events through a geopolitical lens. It becomes easy to link every protest to foreign influence or strategic rivalry. The truth is often more nuanced. Internal and external pressures can overlap, but they are not always directly connected. Another angle to consider is economic endurance. Countries under prolonged sanctions often develop alternative trade channels. Regional partnerships become more important. Barter systems, local currency trade agreements, and energy swaps emerge as survival tools. Over time, such mechanisms can reduce dependency on traditional financial systems. Whether they are sustainable long-term is another debate, but in the short term, they provide breathing space. Energy markets remain one of the biggest concerns. The Persian Gulf is a vital artery for global oil shipments. Even limited disruption can raise prices worldwide. Higher fuel costs affect transportation, food prices, manufacturing, and consumer spending. That is why global investors monitor every headline related to the region. Fear of supply interruption alone can push markets upward.
Military alliances also face testing moments during crises. Statements of support are one thing, practical support is another. Some countries may offer diplomatic backing, others may provide technical cooperation. Direct involvement, however, is a much bigger step. Strategic partners often calculate whether intervention serves their long-term interests. In that calculation, risk versus reward becomes central. There is also the factor of deterrence theory. Deterrence works when each side believes the cost of escalation is too high. If Iran signals that it is prepared for prolonged resistance, and if opposing forces demonstrate overwhelming capability, both sides may hesitate. The balance between strength and restraint defines stability. When that balance is disturbed, escalation becomes more likely. In the information age, perception shapes reality. Social media amplifies unverified claims. Dramatic narratives spread faster than official briefings. It becomes essential for viewers to rely on credible sources and avoid emotional reactions. Geopolitical conflicts are rarely simple. They involve history, ideology, economics, and security calculations all at once. Some analysts believe that quiet diplomacy may still be ongoing behind the scenes. Public statements can sound strong for domestic audiences, but private discussions may focus on de-escalation. History has shown many examples where rivals negotiated while publicly criticizing each other. Strategic patience sometimes prevents catastrophe. It is also important to remember that no country benefits from uncontrolled regional war. Humanitarian consequences would be severe, refugee flows could increase, infrastructure damage would affect the civilians the most, global supply chains would face disruption. Recovery from such conflict could take years. These realities often push leaders toward cautious steps, even when rhetoric appears aggressive. At the center of this discussion remains the question of resolve. Some leaders believe pressure creates compliance. Others believe pressure creates resistance. The outcome depends on political culture, public unity, and economic resilience. When a nation feels cornered, it may choose to stand firm rather than concede. That dynamic is visible in many historical conflicts. From a broader global perspective, this situation is part of shifting power structures. Emerging alliances challenge traditional dominance. Technological advancements reduce gaps between large and medium powers. Portable defense systems, precision drones, and cyber tools allow smaller actors to influence outcomes in ways that were impossible decades ago. As we move forward, watch for key indicators: official confirmations of defense transfers, verified satellite imagery, diplomatic visits between major capitals, changes in naval deployments, fluctuations in oil exports. Each of these signals provides clues about direction. Sudden silence can be as meaningful as loud announcements. For now, uncertainty continues to dominate. Military readiness remains high, financial markets remain sensitive, diplomatic channels may be active but unseen. The coming weeks could either cool tensions or intensify them depending on choices made by decision makers. One thing is certain: the world is interconnected more than ever. A development in one region quickly impacts economies and politics elsewhere. That is why careful analysis matters. Emotional headlines do not define reality. Strategic decisions do. This is Kundi, reporting with detailed analysis for Pulse America News. Stay engaged, stay informed, and always approach global developments with critical thinking and calm understanding. The story is still unfolding, and responsible awareness is the most powerful tool we have.